Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Good Cast Show. Now, in 1996, 30 Pakistani women were locked in a hostel after work by a factory located at Alma, Bukit Mertajam. Now, thanks to my guest's bold move to write about this, during his time at The Sun, the police rescued these women who were then repatriated to Pakistan. In April of 2007, while he was at the new Straits Times, he reported a story of a migrant worker from Tamil Nadu, South India, who was allegedly ill-treated, abused and tortured by his employers in Bukit Mertajam. Having locked this man for a month, then abandoning him at a nearby forest in Gurun, Kedah. If it wasn't for my guest's bold move again to uncover this story, this man would not have been found at the jungle. Now, for the last 15 years, my guest's focus has been on human trafficking, migrants' welfare, violation of human rights against migrants, their hardship, and their rights as a human being. He has won the Malaysian Human Rights Commission Suhakam in Excellent Investigative Reporting Journalist Award in 2015. He also has won the Malaysian Press Institute Petronas Award Excellence in Journalism in 2016. And he also awarded by the Sungai Petani Rotary Club in 2019 for, again, his excellence in journalism. His career as a journalist began way back in 1980 with Tamil media, Tamil Osai, Malaysian Nanban, and Makal Osai. Until 2016, where he decided to switch to the English medium. Then he served at The Sun, The Star, the New Straits Times, and then retired in 2010. But there's no keeping a man like this in retirement. He then came out of it to join the Malay Mail and Bulletin Mutiara, as well as the Vibes and Malaysia Kini. But today, we are discussing arguably the most revealing and controversial work yet. His book, Mass Graves, Uncovering the Killing Fields of Wang Kalian. Now, before we start this interview, I would like to warn you as the viewer that this interview will be discussing human trafficking, death, crime, murder, mutilated bodies, the fate of refugees, and it's not for the faint of heart. So viewer discretion is advised. It is my honor, it is my privilege to host a national icon, the voice for the voiceless souls. Please welcome Datuk Arulldas Sinnapan. How are you, Datuk?
I'm fine.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you.
To join your podcast.
Yes, it is a pleasure. Now, Datuk, I want to start with this book. Firstly, I'd like to say this is a phenomenal book that you have written. Although it is about 100 plus pages only, but the pages are not easy to go through. The story of cruelty and just lack of humanity is shocking. And I think most Malaysians would not be aware of the dark side of what refugees go through. So I want to start first at the beginning. You know, your investigation, you writing this book has also, and this entire story of the mass graves has led to many people being prosecuted. You have Malaysian police. On the Thai side, you have government officials, politicians, and all that to the highest level. Now, throughout this journey, were you ever concerned about your life? Did you ever feel that your life will be threatened by these traffickers?
I agree. I mean, some extent, it was there. There's some threat. Now I have received calls without anyone responding, talking, speaking to me. But many calls during that period that people call, but they don't talk. So I felt it was a threat, but anyway, I was very cautious and while moving out, out of the house, and also I fear for the safety of my family because I was involved in a risky job, very dangerous, and it can cost my life. That I was all the while in my mind. Even when I went to the border, I did not open my mouth to ask anyone about the mass graves because I know everybody can be the agents or the friends of the syndicates. So I was very cautious about it while moving at the border. And even while in Thailand, several times I went, I did not mention anything about mass graves and my I aspire to find it.
Now, but the thing about your career, Dato, is that in the 30 years of your experience, you have oftentimes gravitated to stories and that concern the migrants. You have sort of, like, as you rightfully call in this book, the voice for the voiceless souls.
Mhm.
What made you from so back? I mean, even before this book, what sort of pushed you to actually focus on this entire community?
Entire, what do you mean, the Rohingya community?
No, like even before that, when you covered the story about the Pakistani women
Oh, yeah,
and the
correct.
Tamil Nadu
Okay.
worker, why
Yep.
focus on them?
I feel no one should be punished. I mean, without valid reasons. I mean, I don't allow violence and uh, against anyone. You know, especially, against another human being. There should not be punishment or violence against another human being. And I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear. I don't read anything such, because I feel another human being must respect another human being. If you have been, you have the right to live. He has the right to live. You know, if God has created you, God has also created the other person. It can be a migrant or it can be anybody. You know, even animals cannot be tortured, you know, and killed for any reasons. I feel that way. So I feel no one should be punished or tortured for whatever reason it may be.
Definitely, I agree with that too. Now, Dato, at the start of this book, at the very beginning of this book, there is a mention of a former. There is a mention of a character, a former military commander, Manas Kongpan.
Yep.
Who your former editor called the monster of Wang Kalian.
Yes.
He's in this book, he's almost like the antagonist of this whole story.
That's right. Correct.
Why was he called the monster of Wang Kalian?
I think Thailand has been the land where the migrants arrived. You know, so this man was responsible to, what do you say, deport them. You know, like in boats, when they arrive, they send them back into the sea again. You know, that was happening. And also they were put them in jail, you know, as illegal immigrants. And later what happened, the same person received these boats and sold them to the syndicates, human trafficking syndicates. That is the crime that even the government, the Thailand government, saw it serious. I think they cannot allow that to happen in their country. So that's why he was, tried and prosecuted.
Yes, he was.
67 years, so jail.
Yeah.
So then he died in the jail. He died in the jail. He was admitted in a military hospital and he died.
Okay. Now, again, still sticking on this monster of Wang Kalian character. So, as you mentioned, he was onboarding Rohingya refugees and Bangladeshis in death camps. Now, for the sake, and these death camps were in jungles.
Yep.
Right. So, could you give us an idea or paint a picture as to how these death camps look like? What were they comprised of?
The death camps and the camps were deep in the jungle, and it took almost about 3 hours for me to hike up the peak, the spot or the site.
Okay.
You know, and it was made in makeshift camps, but it is normally done by the army, or the scouts used to do that. A temporary camp, like to what do you say? Temporary stay. You know, and it was. I've said in my book, it was run. Operated by army man and his wife. They were arrested earlier, and I think they were released. So there was one camp, I said in the book, that can accommodate but more than 1,000 people.
Wow.
One camp itself, and there were several camps in that site, and also a camp higher higher from the ground to, I think, for the ladies, to prevent from wild animals, especially that area. They said a lot of wild boars there, and I didn't realize until I saw the board there are tigers on the hills.
My goodness.
I was not aware until I came back on the second time. I think I noticed the signboard.
Okay. But there's also mentioned that these death camps were actually made out of bamboo. They were bamboo, and then you had tarpaulin there, and then it also talks about how people were put into these camps. Like, say, for example, if a spot could include 10, they would jam in 20 people kind of thing. Was that happening at these death camps?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was. I mean, it happened.
Okay.
And see the cover page of my book.
Yeah.
Okay. Until today, almost 9 years. Until today, I don't have the answer why the metal chain is on the hills. Is it to tie the refugees or the victims of the human trafficking victims, or what purpose was the metal chain? Metal chain, it's very heavy, and it was to about 3 feet high, and I myself found almost dying to hike up the hill, and how the syndicates brought the metal chain to the peak, to the side. It's not that easy. Walking alone, I just took a sling bag, a notebook, and a small bottle, mineral water. Okay, that's all I carried. But my cameraman carried a lot of equipments, cameras, all that. So I thought, how could people climb up? Who carried that metal chain? Was the victims of the human trafficking syndicate? I cannot imagine. So who and how they carried up the metal chain? What is the purpose of the metal chain on the hills? Until today, there's no answer. I cannot find an answer.
Based on what you're talking about, especially these types of syndicates, right? It's mentioned in your book that at some points they were making almost close to $500 million per year.
Yep.
For doing this, and then UNHCR also reported that I think in 2014 or 2015, I can't remember. More than 170,000 people were actually boarded ships from Myanmar and Bangladesh to come to Thailand and Malaysia. Now, you talk about it quite in detail here, but I think for the sake of the audience, what was your travel at sea like?
Some paid about RM 7,000, 5,000 to 7,000. Per person each victim pays about 5,000 to 7,000. Okay, I'd say 5,000, and let's say about 100 people comes in a boat. Okay, 100 people come in a boat. 100 times 5,000.
So 500,000.
500,000, one trip. Okay, one trip. If they make 2 trips, they make 1 million.
Yeah, clean money.
I say in a year, if they take 12 trips, if they make 24 trips, what would be the income, the profit? Is huge. It's $1 billion business. So reporting it is risky and dangerous, as I'm exposing them, the activities. So the huge amount involved encourage them to continue the trade. So more people, and there were agents in Bangladesh who went around to, recruit people to bring them into Malaysia. So they made good money. That's why, even HCR and other medias have reported it's $1 billion business.
But what was their condition like at sea when they were traveling, all refugees? What did they have to go through? I mean, it must not have been easy.
Oh, no, of course, when you come as a passenger, in the boat, they don't want, because there will be setbacks, and problems while you travel. What I learned, from the earlier reports, sometimes it takes about 2 months. They can be drifted, they can be diverted to other areas due to sea conditions, all that. Takes about 1 month to 2 months. So they won't have sufficient food. And same time, in the boat, they give only limited food. They biscuits, and water, and all that are controlled. So they are given limited food, and also to make the victim or avoid the victim from retaliating the syndicate and the agents. So they'll be weak, and there were, incidences of women being harassed, raped, and it is common. I think it is almost every woman in the boats or even by land when they hijack them or bring them towards Malaysia, they become victim sexual harassment.
You also mentioned in this book that sometimes in these boats, they even find kids as young as 3 years old.
Yep.
And then, is it true? I mean, also in the book, you talk about how sometimes these women on the boats are sold.
Yep.
It's not easy to read.
No, they were sold to the syndicates or to the agents to work in the, sex trade. So it has been there for decades. I know. No, I have also checked some places where they said to have a sex trade of foreign women, including Rohingyas, all that. Okay, in my area. So it has been there. It has been there, and it also, during the journey, when people die, they just dump them in the sea. It has happened, and when they and some people, some victims who are very sick, they also throw them into the sea. I feel it's inhuman. You must save them.
Yeah.
So you are ending their life.
Yeah, definitely. That's why, like I said, this book is not easy to read. It's it's easy to read, but it's very difficult because the emotions it stirs. It's difficult, but please get this book regardless. Now let's go back to the beginning, Dato. In this book, you start right at the beginning in the year 2013 to 2014. You are in Penang, and the picture you paint of Penang at this point, especially from the perspective of the refugees, makes it look like a very dystopian Penang. It almost sounds like a thriller, crime, drama type of thing where there's mentions of slaughterhouses, decapitated heads at walkways, mutilated arms placed near police stations, mutilated bodies found across the Penang state. What were these killings about and why were they happening?
Okay, the decapitated heads and the chopped arms, all that is the revenge of the communal clash back in Myanmar.
Oh, so it came here because of them coming here.
That's right. The families were wiped out. They were killed. The houses were razed. No, they had the feeling of their families being wiped out. So their properties grabbed by the minority community in Rakhine. So they kept it in their heart. when they came, human feeling, that comes out to take revenge. So that's how it that took. I mean, the incidents of killing by slit throat, deaths, murder, all that. But I don't justify. But I think it's nature, human nature.
To seek revenge.
Yeah, because the families they were just killed, and their houses were burnt, and there are hundreds of deaths and murder. I don't say murder, okay, but people were killed. The community were underwent a lot of torture and what word shall I use? Okay, and the people who were here, who came here, when they saw the people, the other community, so I think they went into that action. But I don't justify that, lah. But they came. I mean, the Rohingya community came here to see green patches, but they still continue to undergo a lot of problems. No, it's not promised land for them here. But the governments and the ASEAN and the United Nations has to find ways for them to live happily as other humans.
Yeah.
If a human in any land has a right to live, and they too have the right to live.
Definitely. Now, again, Dato, one part of this book that it's not a very long section, but very brief section where you talk about you interviewing a 41-year-old woman who shared her 27 days in hell, and as you have written here, that's what you call it, the month of hell. What did she go through, Dato?
Okay, this woman, I was introduced by a friend, lah. Okay, this woman. She brought two daughters in I think in the teenagers or in the early 20s. Okay, she from a village. I think she paid the money to bring that, because she has already been here earlier. I think it was a second time. Earlier, the husband and a daughter got caught. They were put in a migration camp.
So she has come here before?
She was here before. So the husband died in a hospital during the detention, and the daughter somehow came into Malaysia with the HR card. And this woman brought the two daughters into Malaysia again, and she was the one who told me that from day one until they came into Malaysia, they underwent sexual harassment. They were raped. She and the daughters were raped several times, along the journey, and there were many agents. Then they have to bow. They cannot resist the pressure by the syndicates. So they got no choice. He says here they have to sacrifice for the future. They got no other choice to bow to the pressure of the syndicate, the agents. They are very, brutal, and they are monsters, according to her. That's what she told me. I feel very sad about it, and no woman should undergo this kind of torture.
Yeah,
no one should undergo. It's our duty to defend
defenseless
women,
women
from this kind of harassments and torture.
Yeah. Now then we move closer to the part where you discover the mass graves. Now, right before that, you write that you met a certain person at a coffee shop.
Yep.
Together with your cameraman, Mr. Sayuti.
Yeah.
Who's mentioned repeatedly in this book. He's like your sidekick. He's
like
a Robin to your Batman, right? And, this person tells you you were introduced to him by, I think, a common friend, or was it a mutual friend or a family member, if I'm not mistaken?
No. I came to know him. I met him.
Met him. So when you met him at this coffee shop, he tells you, like, look, there's this mass graves here. Let's go and have a look at it. I mean, he tells you that there were mass graves at the border, and based on your writing, it sounds like you didn't even give it a second thought. You looked at your cameraman, Mr. Sayuti, you said, we're going, right? And then as you go, you sort of have said, look, maybe we should not go because we are underprepared. You don't want to meet some agents or traffickers and all that. But also after that, you went there alone by yourself to find the mass graves.
Yes.
Tato, why? What propelled you to do this?
Okay. No, at the coffee shop, someone came to tell me mass graves. Okay, I never been to Wang Kalyan. Okay, Padambasa is about 40 kilometers from the place. I've been to Padambasa many times because when I was working in a factory, they used to organize trips to Padambasa. It's very common in the north or even from the south. Buses used to go to Padambasa because that things seem to be cheap. And a lot of imitation goods. I mean, from those days, 80s, 70s, 80s, a lot of imitation goods, shoes, bags, all they used to go and buy. And equally, same quality, like the original brands, So, it's very common for people to go to Padamsa. But never been to Wang Kalyan. I've been to Wang Kalyan. So when the man told me it's Wang Kalyan, he didn't give me the exact location, or he said, find your own. Okay. Then I asked Sayuti, is it okay? He said, okay, we go. It's about 60 kilometers from Jitra. Jitra is on the east, and Wang Kalyan is on the west. Yeah. So I drove. It took about 45 minutes to 1 hour to reach Wang Kalyan. And before Wang Kalyan, there's a small town called Anabukit. So we have to go up the hill. It's about 9 kilometers. Okay, it's 9 kilometers. When we went down to Wang Kalyan, it looks like another land, another country. It doesn't look like Malaysia. So both of us felt the same. And from the foothill to the checkpoint, the Wang Kalyan checkpoint, about 3 to 4 kilometers. And we don't see people on the road. We don't see people outside the houses. It was like empty, like abandoned town. So we drove. We drove to the checkpoint, and on the left, I think about 200 meters, there's a police station, and I think about 150 meters, there was a complex, but almost abandoned. Only few units were occupied. So we dare not. Then on the left side, I saw lorries, 1 or 2 lorries were unloading Malaysian goods into the Thai trucks, and then we were hungry. I mean, it was lunchtime, so went to a nearby stall opposite the complex, abandoned complex. Then we had our lunch. So we decided what to do. But we dare not to open our mouth and ask anyone. Very fearful. It's very dangerous, very risky. You won't talk about human trafficking. So we decided to come back to Penang. Then I think about 300 meters from the food stall, we found the Perlis Forest office. There was a homestay. I think earlier it was a homestay. So I stopped the car, lighted from the car. I went and asked the caretaker. He told me that, about 1-2 months ago, I think a lot of police trucks, ambulance all came. Overnight they were there, with siren, all that. Then I know I asked him any particular uh, uh, landmark that he said he doesn't know. He was only watching from his place. So about 300 meters from his place. So we went. Both of us we returned. Went to the area. We looked. There are many paths, similar paths. So we parked our car and we walked up. Walked about 200 to 300 meters, and several paths we went up, and we couldn't find anything, and we were scared because we didn't carry a compass, and no other like pen knife even, let's say, for anything. So decided to come back. So we came back. I came back to Penang. Came back to Penang, and then at that time I was covering Permatang Pao, I think parliamentary by-elections.
Yeah, actually, Dato, sorry to interrupt, but I actually wanted to get to that. I have a question about that as well. Have you watched the movie Jagat?
Yeah.
So I don't really remember, but there is a scene in Jagat where the father of the main character, the boy, is going to go to work, and he's wearing his pants, but the buckle is gone. So he takes a raffia string to tie and to tighten his pants, right?
Okay.
But at the background, the radio is playing, and in the radio, what is being broadcasted is this message from a politician. I can't remember whom. Who's saying that the Malaysian economy is good, it's thriving and all that things, Okay. It's a very interesting juxtaposition there to showcase the difference in reality and politics, right?
The raffia.
He's poor, but then you're telling me the economy is growing and all that.
Okay.
I found that mention in this book where you talk about how that time you were covering the by-elections, and then you also talk about what are the results and all that, against the fact that while this is happening in Permatang Pao, there are possibly, at that time you had no idea, possibly mass graves in this same place, right? I mean, around this area, and these things are happening in Malaysia while we are focused on by-elections and political rhetoric. Was this juxtaposition purposely written like that in this book?
No, it was real.
Real, okay.
It was real.
No, I was thinking whether were you trying to sort of compare what the world of politics versus the world of reality?
Yeah, correct. No, even during while covering the by-elections, I did not open my mouth to tell any journalist about the mass grave.
Okay.
It was in me every moment thinking about mass grave. I must go back. Then came the Thai side. They found a mass grave. It was, I think, April 30th or May 1st. Okay, then my editors called me. He said, "Hey, it's your baby. Go check on it." Okay, then next day I went. I think next day, leaving the by-elections because there are many other reporters covering. So I went, and they said, "What from the news? I think it's Wire News, AFP or AP, saying that they rescued two men. The Thai police rescued two men, and he has been admitted at the hospital in Padamasa." So I went. I didn't know that Padamasa is no hospital on our side. Both sides are called Padamasa. So then I checked. They say there is no hospital in Padamasa. It is in Kanga. Then I checked with some other friends. They said there's no one admitted on our side. There's no victims in Malaysia. I mean, in Kanga hospital. So I decided to go to cross the border
to see the thing
on the Padamasa side.
Now, so let's get to it then, Dato. You after that, there is a moment in the book where you meet a character called Dawood. And you mentioned how while you thought that you were supposed to be hiking up from the Malaysian side, he insisted to hike from the Thai side, right? And and of course this was very dangerous. Let's be very honest. I mean, but regardless, I think you got the green light from your editor and you pushed through, lah.
Yep.
You have, for a lack of a better phrase, Dato, you have balls of steel. I got to say that you are such a courageous man. Now, Then you make the hike. You talk about how exhausting it was. You mentioned about how the sentence you used was that you felt the tiredness from your 60-year-old body, right? You were really tired and walking out, but you eventually you come to the graves. The one after 3 hours, if I'm not mistaken, I think 3 hours you find the graves. Tell us, Dato, at that point, could you elaborate that moment? What was going through your mind? How it looked like when you first discovered it?
Okay, before going to this, you remind me if I missed out. Okay. 2 days before at the site, at the mass graves, okay, I joined the Thai army. They were looking for they were looking for camps on the hills. Okay, about 150 people. I think I was only Malaysian journalist lah. So I joined them. To hike up. I think it's hills near Ratapom, the town called Ratapom. Okay, I hiked up almost more than about 1 hour to 2 hours. Then I came to a point where I cannot walk anymore. Because exhausted. So then I decided not to follow them. But luckily they also decided to end the hike and they come back. They decided to come back. So I came back to that I think it was the Ratapom Town Council where they had rescued about 280 refugees, from the hills. I was there and covering lah. So at the same evening, we waited for the deputy IGP of Thailand to come to the hall and meet the refugees. I had covered, and the same night, I think about 10, I left the town and wanted to cross Malaysia. So I came back. The next day, my legs all swollen. So I went to the clinic and the doctor gave me 2 days medical leave. Then the day when I went to see the doctor, that night Dawood called. He said, "Can we go tomorrow?" So my condition with the swollen legs, I have to decide. If I let go this chance, I will never see the mass graves. There's no way. Because nobody, I think, not many will have the idea or know that there's mass graves. So I decided to go. I said, okay. Then I told my editors. Editors told me to take my cameraman, Sayuti, along with me. So I called Sayuti. It was only about 10 days after his marriage.
Yes, you talk about that. Yeah.
So I don't know whether he will decide to come, but he says, okay, I'll come. So I was, I don't know whether to happy that he is joining me or there's a question mark of safety of both of us, and he's newly married. So anyway, I say, okay, at 6 p.m. he moved from here, we will go to Padamasa. Then my editors called me later when I reached Padamasa about 8. Editors told me, bring them to Malaysian side. Ask them to come over and you ask them to take to the site. I called them, I talked to them. They say, no, we don't know Malaysia. We've never been to Malaysia. If we come crossover, we cannot identify because it's not
the same side.
Not the same. They say, no way. Then I called my editor. I told him, I take the risk. But I believe I will come back. With the story, I will come back. So please give me the permission to go ahead with the thing. Then what he said, okay, never mind, send the phone numbers of the people and also take pictures, all that. So I send, because they fear these people can be the agents of the syndicates. Even I don't know. Then I after talking to the thing, sending the phone numbers, the pictures, all that, I went over. We crossed the checkpoint. And the guy waited, the Dawood waited. Then the shocking thing of both of us, they took us to a house belonging to a Pakistani. Suddenly a Pakistani in the picture, the fear in us, but he's been living there for long, for many years, I think more than 20 years. And he owns a bakery, with his wife and children. But he welcomed us, he gave us lunch. He was so good. He was very, very nice. He's still a friend, but I think 2 years ago I went back to see him with some on migrant issues also.
Yeah.
So he's still a friend, but I don't know now he's there. So after that, another guy from Bangkok arrived. Then we moved to the hills. Okay, now coming to the hills.
This, yes.
Okay, we parked the car. Is the 4-wheel drive at the Put Hill and started walking for about 10-15 minutes. Then we saw an army man with a rifle there. Then these Thai guys talked to him. He said he allowed us to go. So we went in. I think not very far from the army guy, army man. We saw rubbish, all that in that area. So Satyuti took that is the first picture we're starting. After walking for about 10-15 minutes, I felt I'm exhausted. I cannot walk, and because the earlier swelling is already there, So I told them, no, you all go. I don't think so I can go. I walk up anymore. No, they say no. They insist that I might come. And they waited. I only had a bottle of water, a small bottle, not a big bottle, so small bottle. And I rested for about 10-15 minutes. Then start walking again. Because we arrived at the foothill, I think after 3. So we started walking. And there were places where the path has been washed away. So, or landslides, So then the path has been cut off. So what I did, like others are very young. I'm the only one, elder. Okay. What I did, several places, I hold the roots to walk up. That was killing. Like almost dying. I don't think so. Then several times I told them to go ahead, but they refused to go without me. Then I lie down on the ground for 10-15 minutes. Then walk up, continue to walk again. So then finally we found a place, came to the site. We found a pond on the hills, but it was a dark in color. I don't know why it is dark in color. Then from there, we walked to the left. He took us, Dawood and his friend took us to the left. There I saw the mass graves. It was shocking to me because I never expect a grave on the peak of the hills, and you will see graves or graveyards where there are people living. You will see, even see in Malay compounds, and you will see
like
graveyards.
The caretaker.
But this one, in a jungle, on the top of a hill, and you see graveyard. How this could happen? So I was in a shock for some time. Then there were, the mounds of the graveyard, this thing, and covered with the leaves, palm leaves. Then I started counting. I was counting. Then they say we are getting late because I think normally in the forest on the hills, it gets dark very fast. Before compared to other places, on the ground. No, so I stopped counting. I think I counted about 30, 40. Then we decided to take pictures and move down to the same area near the pond. Then we moved to the right side. That's where I saw the camps. No? And the camp, I think, I'm not mistaken, just abandoned about 2 weeks ago. I mean, less than 2 weeks. There were fresh things, many utensils, So we took pictures. I was in a real shock. Then I thought of people, migration, undergoing tortures, harassments, and being killed. But all this boils down to greedy people to make money, And the bottom line is corruption. Corruption is the cause of all this. That allows these inhuman things to take place. If you have, there's no corruption, I don't think so all this would have happened. So I feel sad.
No, but then after you uncover the graves, then comes the article, the front page of the Millennial,
okay.
which with the title is a really powerful title, "The Journey Where Dreams Go to Die."
Yeah.
I mean, that is really a powerful title. So after that article was released, what was the aftermath?
There were reactions from the government and also NGOs, and it was, I think, widely read by people around the world, because when the government decided to exhume the bodies, I met the Time magazine correspondent from Beijing coming to me and talking to me. I mean, she told me that I'm here because after reading your magazines, and AFP, Reuters, and other international media were there. They came and acknowledged it. They talked to me, and I was also interviewed by the Channel News Asia of Singapore. So I think there was a large, wide coverage on my discovery, because human trafficking was widely written and spoken by the activists around the world, and there was an evidence to human trafficking and the causes of human trafficking and the ugly side of the human trafficking. So it was an exposure.
Now, the thing is, also in this case, what happened next was quite interesting. You had sort of like a standoff between now Deputy Prime Minister Zahid Hamidi.
Yeah.
At a press con, he asked you, what would you do if you were in a decision-making position?
Yeah.
This was a retort to your query, whether was it right to turn away these boats without giving them food and water and whatnot. So, Dato, now that you are here, perhaps let's ask the question that Dato Zahid Hamidi had asked you. What would you do?
If I'm in a
if you are in the position of power,
okay,
yeah.
I would rescue them. Okay, bring them to the shore. Give them food. Okay, place them in a place until you, replace them in another country or whatever it is. I mean, with you can discuss with the UN, HCR. Okay, so that is second part. But you rescue them, because what I wanted to say here, in 2002-03, UNHCR seek the help of the nations. That means the nations in this country. I mean, in the journey, in the road, where there was one boat with 280 people carrying, adrifted, and the UN sought the help of the governments to rescue them. And all the governments just ignored for several weeks. But at the end, the boat sank and all died. How can we humans allow this to happen? I don't think so. Is the governments, let it be, they're humans. It is the government's responsibility to save them, rescue them, then do other things, plans to whatever you want to replace them, you want to migration in another country, whatever it is. But save them first. That was my question to our Deputy Prime Minister during that time. Not only we did, Thailand also did that. Chase them away. You send them back the boats. I feel it is not the right decision. I feel it very unfair. As a human being, I feel it is not unfair. It is not fair to do this. Some action must have taken. The governments or the ASEAN should have decided what to do to rescue these people, to save these people, the lives of these people.
Yeah, definitely. Now, of course, once everything was uncovered after all the bodies were all exhumed and all that, it was found that most of them, in fact, all of them, died because of either starvation or malnutrition. This was a common thing that happened in the camps as well. Now, the one thing that your book brings to center stage is that it sort of compares the very disproportionate responses of both governments. So on the Thai side, many officials were basically prosecuted.
Yep.
In fact, there was a politician, right, who was also prosecuted. But in Malaysia, the response was very, very minimal. Yep. So why do you think there was such a disparity between the Thais and the Malaysia and the Malaysian officials in terms of addressing or finding who are the ones who are involved in this? Because there is mention of 2 Malaysians who were involved, but nothing was done to them as well. So why was there this huge disparity?
I think it is still an unanswered question. Many spoke about this. Written articles, why this has happened in our country. As Thailand has convicted of 126 people about that. Okay? And why we can't narrow down? Because the RCI, at the end of the thing, they concluded that they can't they can't narrow down the people responsible for the human trafficking or the Wang Kalyan in mass graves. So that was the conclusion of the Royal Commission of Inquiry. And if Thailand can identify, prosecute and convict people involved, I can't digest. Even many people have said, why can't we narrow down anybody? And actually, I say the civil servants, they cannot narrow down. They cannot convict, prosecute. There's no evidence, they say. There's no evidence to prosecute anyone. So this is hanging.
Yeah, it's a hanging question on this entire question.
Yeah.
Now, one claim made by the president of the Rohingya club in Thailand, he claims that 80% of the camps were actually located in Malaysia. Is there any truth in this?
I may agree to a certain extent because the Rakhine project director, Chris Leva, who's living in Bangkok, and she's in charge of the she has a vast knowledge of the boat movements, in the Andaman Sea, between Malaysia and Cox's Bazar, all that, and she said that there are many more camps. She told me, she came to visit me. After the discovery, she came to visit me, spoke to me, and she also agreed about the 5 boats, which came, and what happened to the boats. So, as she said, there are many camps. Because I identified to one, and the government or the security personnel only exhume bodies from there. But she said there are many.
Many, yeah?
She told.
Okay.
And as it could be true, as the Rohingya community leader in Thailand said, because I think he would have a better knowledge
Definitely.
than me on that aspect.
Definitely, yes. There is a very, I would say a very sad mention of a 8-year-old boy who followed his neighbor to come to Malaysia from Myanmar. His name is Muhammad Jahe Shah Alam.
Yep.
And you tried to save him. You tried to get him out, but he was moved to a detention camp in Hatiai.
Yep.
Whatever happened to him?
So I met him in Ratapom.
Oh, really?
I met him in Ratapom, and I spoke to him. Then I think his neighbors, I think he's in the picture.
Yes.
Okay, I spoke to the guy. I said, the guy, what is his name? Jahangir?
Jahe. Muhammad Jahe.
Okay, his mother told him, you follow this couple, you will have a better future. Okay, and they were unable to enter Malaysia, and they were arrested by the Thai security personnel, and they were sent to detention camp somewhere in Songkla. But my until today, my aim is to meet him again and unite him with his mother. I mean, if the UNHCR can help me, I wanted to visit him and make arrangements for UNHCR to send him back to his, meet his mother. That's my aim, So if that can be done, I'll be happy. I think I'll be the most happiest person in the world. Even if I die, that I have done something, useful to the mankind. Because I feel I understand the feeling of the mother and the son. Otherwise, I don't think so they can meet them again. Another chance of him being, whether he's released or whether when he comes out, he has been sold to another syndicate, somewhere and becomes a slave. In fact, I don't want to think about it. I feel sad.
Yeah, it's very sad. Now, in your book, towards the end, you then sort of step back from this whole situation and analyze the whole problem of refugees in Malaysia. Now, is it wrong for us to turn away these refugee boats when people may ask? There has been a counter argument. In fact, it has been said by certain people. Why is it our problem?
Okay, good question. If we talk about the people of Palestinians, the Palestinians, and if we say that Israel is wrong against the Palestinians, Gaza, I feel the same. These people are also, neglected, So I don't see any difference between these two.
Even they are both Muslim also.
Both Muslims.
And we are a Muslim country.
Yeah. So what's wrong? I mean, I'm not asking the government to give them citizenship, no. Because I spoke to many Rohingya refugees. In fact, they wanted to go back to their country. No, even the Rohingya Association president in Malaysia, his name is Zafar, I think. He also, many times he said, we wanted to go back to our country. We wish that we are there again. I don't think so they are here. They want to be permanently here. I think they are sincere. So they wanted to go back to their country. If the situation there in their homeland returns to normal as what they were before the crisis and the problems arise. So what's wrong in saving them? If God has created you, God has created me, God has created them. Give them the equal treatment. They are not asking for a luxury life.
Yeah.
They wanted to live until they find a way in their homeland.
One of the things that really surprises me here is, there are two things. Firstly, is in this book, there is a call for refugees to actually have access to public education, especially the children.
Yep.
There are people that you have quoted that mentioning as well that this is the way that we can end poverty, we can really improve their lives, especially the kids. Let's talk about the kids as well. How far or how close are we to making this happen?
The Negeri Sembilan Sultan, I think about 2 years ago, I've said we can allow the refugees to go into our universities.
This is in his state or national?
No, it is commonly said.
Okay.
I think
it is mentioned here. Yes,
it's in the book. So I think they are not going to take a major portion of the university seats. Give them a chance. I think the innocent child has the right to be educated.
Yeah, exactly.
Educated. And I've written on statelessness.
Yes.
Parents arrived in Malaysia about 20, 30 years ago. And they are what is the age now? 20, 30? And the adults, they have to live an adult style of living. If they don't work, if they have no education, what they can do? And don't you think they become a burden to the nation? Of course, definitely. Because they have to work, they have to get married, they have their life. But don't tell me that people came here about 20 years ago, 30 years ago, are not marrying. They are marrying, okay, and they bear children. They have children, and then life goes on. So, are you going to neglect the
Generations
children? Generations is going to go. Either you find a solution to this problem, otherwise, statelessness is going to cause a lot of problem to the nation itself.
Correct. In terms of crime and all this. Yeah.
Correct. So how you are going to overcome? So UN and the ASEAN has to seriously look into the matter.
But one question then also comes is that despite the issue of statelessness being very simple issue to solve, it's a very simple issue to solve actually. Why do you think that there is no political will to actually solve this when don't just talk about Rohingya refugees, even Malaysian Indians, there are many who are stateless. Malaysian Chinese as well. There are many those people. Yeah. Why is there no political will to tackle this problem?
I don't know what is behind the minds of the politicians.
Yeah.
And even I said in the book that when Malaysia was the chairman of ASEAN and Tun Mahathir was the prime minister, the ASEAN allowed Myanmar to come in as a member of ASEAN. Okay, and that is the time where they must have demanded Myanmar to recognize the Rohingya as their citizens. But that was what they are asking. If they become a citizen, they I don't think so they want to travel or looking for pasture, want to come to Malaysia or land in Thailand, in Singapore, in Indonesia. Okay? I don't think so. If they have a land, they have a farmland, they will set up business for their whole local community, So the life is there. They don't have to look for another or greener pastures. Not necessary. They will have a living. So I feel ASEAN failed in its duty to demand Myanmar to recognize them as citizens.
And that's where the problem stems from.
Yeah, I think is the failure of ASEAN.
Now, just in closing, Dato, could the mass graves of Wang Kalian be just one of many, that there are others there that have yet to be found?
According to Chris Lewa, the Arakan Project's director, she said many. No, she's an authority. Even I feel United Nations used to get, information from her on the movements of boats. So, as she said, there are many. But I don't know the governments, Thai government and Malaysian government, if they decided no more, there's no more.
Fair enough. Now, in this book, just to quote someone, his name is Zafar Ahmad Abdul Ghani of the Myanmar Ethnic Rohingya Human Rights Organization in Malaysia. He said, there will be more women forced into prostitution, and there will be more children who become forced labor. In all of this, you're covering the fate of refugees and I mean the journey that they go through and everything. Is this the fate of most refugees in Malaysia?
Women and children? I don't think so many. I think it is not openly done. But a portion of the women and children could undergo the problem of forced labor and child labor and women into vice activities. There are chances, they can be forced into. So, see what we can do. I mean, the government should seriously look into the status of the Rohingya refugees.
Yeah, I think there's also mention about how certain girls are also sold to people to be, it's unregulated. I don't know what's the word to even use, but I have no idea why this thing has been going on for so long and nobody just wants to arrest it. It's really terrible. Now, in closing, Dato, from the time that you uncovered these graves, has the overall situation of the Rohingya refugees coming into Malaysia, has it improved in any way?
I don't think so. It's improved, but it's lesser.
Lesser now.
But I don't think so. Boats like with 200 people, 300 people arriving. But I see still reports 18 people being arrested, 20 people being arrested. That is a smaller number. Maybe travel by land from Myanmar border, coming into Thailand, then coming into Malaysia. So smaller number, maybe by land, travel by trucks, all that. So I don't think so. No more like 200 people, 300 people. I think is no more. I feel it's no more.
No more, huh?
Because after that, I didn't see any reports, even in the wire reports or AFP, AP or Reuters have written stories about bigger number of people arriving. No, I don't think so.
Now, Dato, after writing this book, after publishing this book, and seeing what sort of ruckus it caused, if you will, what is your final or your overall take on this whole matter of your whole journey in writing this book and having it published? How does it make you feel?
Initially, I didn't write. Never thought of writing a book, But later I realized it must be documented. Even it is reported in the newspapers, it must be documented and. Otherwise, even after 9 years now, from now, not many know about Wang Kalian. Those newspaper reading people, and it was only Malay Mail. Malay Mail is not like mainstream with major readership, So small portion of people, and also reported on in the websites, So if time to come in 10 years' time, nobody will know about if I didn't write. No, if I didn't document in a book to say there was mass graves, killing of the refugees on the hills and the mass grave. So I don't think so people will come to know. At least this is an evidence to say that it has happened.
Yeah.
You know?
And it has also probably proved a deterrent for people now because
that's right.
all the news which are.
Yeah, but at least the readers will have a feeling for the migrants or refugees. You know, they too have the right to live. We don't torture them, You know, let them live. The government has the role to regulate, you know, and save them, give them the place or temporarily until a solution is found for them to return to the homeland. No? Until then, we respect them as humans.
Yeah, with dignity and respect, yes. So thank you so much, Dato', for coming on. This has been a very interesting, it has been an emotional roller coaster reading your book. Like I said, this book is difficult to read because of the emotions it invokes in one, especially if you're a parent and all that. I think it really hits at the core when you hear children. That there is even a picture of small graves. And there's stories about young children, young girls. There was even a mention of a child even as young as 1 year old being thrown on a truck. It's difficult. Congratulations, Dato', on revealing this to us, unraveling this to us, and on your amazing, amazing career. You are truly an icon of this country, and it's an honor for me to speak to you. So thank you for coming on. So guys, I'll be sharing this link, the link to purchase this book. You can purchase it from Gerak Budaya. They are currently selling this book. I got my copy from there as well. And please have a read. It's not an easy read, as I said, but it's something that must be known and people must truly understand. And I hope that after reading this book, you have more empathy and more care and more concern for the fate of the migrants who are coming into our country. And I hope that we treat them better with more dignity and with more compassion. Thank you so much, Dato'.
Thank you, for the interview. And what I appeal to the people, treat another human as a human. Love them.
Yeah. With that,
that's my message.
Yes, and it is a beautiful message and one that needs to be heard. So thank you guys again for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe as if you will. Please share your thoughts on this. It's always interesting to hear your opinions and your thoughts on the interviews that I have, and especially on this topic. Until next time, take care and have a good week. See you.